Every day, police officers face risky situations, but some events are beyond what anyone could expect. Haunting dashcam footage of eerie figures and unexplainable events left even the bravest officers rattled. Strange creatures, shadowy presences, and hair-raising encounters all caught on camera. A security officer's first shift at his new job involved patrolling an abandoned hospital wing, said to be haunted by a staff member. At around 2 a.m., his flashlight caught a figure at the end of the hall. It shifted, then vanished. Rushing forward, the hallway was empty. Silence. Just the unnerving cold of something unseen. Some think it was a trick of the light. Others are certain the spirits of the past still haunt the halls. Since that night, the officer refuses to patrol alone. Nuns stare.
Hello?
Father isn't the only one who hears your prayers in this church. A paranormal investigator exploring an abandoned church stumbled upon a sight that froze him in place. On one of the benches sat a white figure dressed like a nun. It didn't move. It didn't speak. It simply stared, its face pale and lifeless. A chill gripped him and he fled, heart racing. The church remains abandoned to this day, untouched, with whispers that the spirit still lingers in the dark, waiting for its next visitor. Beach encounter. Couple of friends were enjoying a quiet walk along the beach when something terrifying crossed their path. A tall, pale figure moved unnaturally behind them, its long limbs shifting in ways that weren't human. The moment they saw it, panic took over. They ran, refusing to look back. Some say it was a cryptid, others believe it was something far worse. Its face remained unclear, but its presence alone was enough to make them question what they had just encountered. Creepy police footage. During a late-night raid, officers stormed an abandoned building, expecting to find criminals hiding in the shadow. The air was thick with dust, and the crumbling walls echoed with their cautious steps. But as they moved deeper inside, something far worse was waiting. A pale humanoid figure clung to the wall, its limbs impossibly long and thin. Without warning, it began crawling upward, unnaturally fast, moving toward them in a way no human ever could. Fear gripped the officers. Even with their training, none of them dared stay to find out what they were dealing with. They turned and ran, escaping into the night. Whatever lurked in that building wasn't meant to be seen, and those officers were lucky to escape when they did. Silent call.
Unanswered questions after a 911 call in Pueblo from a funeral home and cemetery.
At 3:30 a.m., a police dispatch center received a call, but there was no voice, just static before the line cut off. When they tried calling back, someone picked up but remained silent. The crackling noise continued.
Hello?
Tracking the call, an officer was sent to investigate the source, a funeral home and cemetery. When he arrived, everything was locked, still, and abandoned. No signs of life, no explanation. The number was real, but the caller wasn't. To this day, no one knows who or what was trying to reach out. Pale girl. During renovations at a restricted section of an airport, workers kept seeing something strange. A small figure in white wandering the upper floors. Thinking it was a trespasser, they called security. But when an officer arrived, he found only a locked door. Behind it, staring back at him, was a pale girl. Panicked, the officer ran, recording as he fled. Later, when they checked the footage, her face was still there, watching. That section had been sealed for years. No one was supposed to be inside. Some places are meant to stay shut. Furred hands. Night shifts at a storage facility had always been quiet until they weren't. Workers had reported strange occurrences, but one night everything changed. While patrolling the dark hallways, a guard saw something terrifying. Giant furry hands stretching out from the shadows. They weren't human, they weren't normal, but they were real. Terrified, he managed to record the scene before running. When he showed his colleagues, they admitted they'd seen figures lurking in the same spot. Management sealed off that area for good. Whatever was hiding there, they weren't taking any chances.
Hello?
Night shift horror. A night shift worker had grown used to the silence of the empty halls, but one night the silence was broken. Voices, faint and eerie, echoed through the building as if someone else was there with him. He grabbed his camera and began recording. As he moved across the room, he froze. There, in the corner, sat a womanly figure, motionless, staring straight ahead. Then, as if aware of the camera, the recording abruptly cut off. That was the last time anyone saw him. Some say he fled in terror. Others believe the spirit took him. Either way, no one dared take his shift after that night. Blinding tactic. On November 25th, 2024, a bizarre dashcam video surfaced online. Police officers were in a high-speed pursuit when the suspect did something no one saw coming. Just as they were closing in, he threw something out of his car, a flashlight. But this wasn't any ordinary flashlight. This one had 100,000 lumens, instantly blinding the officers with blinding white light. For a few seconds, they couldn't see anything. By the time their vision cleared, the suspect was gone. No skid marks, no side roads, just an empty stretch of highway. What kind of escape was that? Haunted encounter. A veteran police officer's life was never the same after investigating a supposedly haunted house in Japan. The thing inside didn't stay behind. It followed him home. Every night, objects would shift on their own. Footsteps echoed in his empty apartment. Desperate for answers, he placed talismans and scattered flour on the floor to track any movement. But nothing could have prepared him for what came next. A pale, white face appeared at his door window, staring in eerie silence before slowly fading away. Since that night, no one knows what followed him home, but many believe it never left. Station horror.
Officers saw something that freaked them out and they captured it on camera.
It's an image that some people say appears to be a ghost walking around the police station. Nancy Laughlin has the video and talked to the men who shot it.
It was a quiet night at the Espanola Police Department when an officer noticed something odd on the security cameras. Initially, he thought it was just an insect passing by the lens, but then he saw the legs. A shadowy figure moved through a secured area, one that was locked and alarmed, without triggering a single alarm. He called his supervisors, but by the time they arrived, it was gone. Officers had already been reporting eerie voices and a chilling icy breath on their necks. With the strange footage now added to the mix, they were left wondering, was the station haunted?
Walk through, it walks in the direction of the old transport pages, and there's not really any way for it to get out through there, but it seems to walk right through that.
Street phantom. A police car's dash cam caught something chilling, a shadowy figure standing motionless at the end of the street, but the officers inside never saw it. This wasn't just any street. Over the past few weeks, several people had vanished, only to show up miles away, disoriented, and with no memory of what happened. Now, with this eerie figure captured on camera, locals believe it's tied to the disappearances. Paranormal investigators suspect it could be a spirit, or something darker. Since the footage was released, no one dares to walk that street after dark. Haunting inmate. Whispers, footsteps, and knocks echoed through the prison halls, but each time officers searched, they found nothing. Initially dismissing it as mere coincidence, the noises only grew louder. Setting up cameras, they finally caught something terrifying, a shadowy figure lurking in the distance. It looked human, but something about it was wrong. Upon checking the prison's records, they made a chilling discovery. The figure matched the description of a murderer who had been hanged years ago. Even now, he still paces the halls, waiting for something or someone. Silent Watcher. Patients at a hospital kept hearing it, loud, aggressive knocking on their doors in the dead of night. It happened so frequently that one man decided to catch the culprit. When the banging started, he threw open his door, but no one was there. His camera, however, told a different story. A dark, shadowy figure slipped into his room, passed through his bed, and vanished into thin air. A staff member later shared the unsettling truth. 10 years ago, a patient had passed away in that very room due to medical negligence. Since then, something has made sure no one sleeps peacefully there. Light's grip. No one can explain what happened to her that night. A security camera captured a female employee waiting for an elevator. She wasn't alone though. A strange beam of light appeared beside her, and the moment it moved, she panicked. In sheer terror, she bolted, but in her haste, she went headfirst into the wall in front of her. Some say it was just fear messing with her mind, but others believe something darker was at play. They think the light wasn't a simple reflection, but a supernatural force that took hold of her thoughts. Though she was rescued, she had no memory of what happened. Don't sit here.
Honolulu police have a spooky story of their own. An officer telling of a story her partner told her of a ghostly encounter at the Poly Lookout.
Honolulu police once shared a chilling encounter that still haunts officers today. A rookie was assigned to lock the gates at Poly Lookout late at night, a task most avoided due to eerie stories surrounding the area. As she secured the first gate and drove toward the second, a figure appeared, a woman in white standing in the road ahead. She slowed down and rolled down her window to ask if she needed help, but an eerie feeling crept over her. Glancing in her rearview mirror, her heart nearly stopped. The woman was no longer on the road. She was now sitting in the back seat, completely silent. Remembering her grandmother's advice, she stayed calm. As she exited the tunnel, the heavy air lifted. When she looked again, the woman was gone. Some say the spirits of the lookout test those who pass through, but only a few ever experienced them firsthand.
The whole time, the lady sat there, said nothing, and was looking down. So as she was driving down, she went through the tunnels and she just felt this overwhelming peace. And then she looked up into the rearview mirror and she noticed that the lady was gone.
Crouching horror. A man walking through the woods at night heard an eerie voice calling from the darkness. As he stepped closer, a woman appeared from behind the trees. But something was off. Her legs were bent unnaturally, almost as if she were crouching while moving toward him, making unsettling sounds.
What do you want from me?
The closer she got, the more disturbing her presence became. Her movement seemed unnatural, as if something else was controlling her. Frozen with fear, the man finally bolted away, never looking back. To this day, he can't explain what he saw.
Why you keep following me?
Coalyard mystery. In 1980, coalyard workers found something that didn't make any sense. A man's body lay atop a coal heap.
There's no disturbance of the coal, to say how he got there. I just can't explain it at all.
Someone who hadn't been there just 30 minutes earlier. The man was Zygmunt Adamski, who had disappeared days before on a simple shopping trip. But what made this even stranger was the condition of his body. His clothes were spotless, not a speck of coal dust on him. His hands were clean, and even his white shirt remained pristine. How could someone be placed there without disturbing the coal beneath them? Even the coroner was stumped, labeling the case unsolvable. Decades later, the mystery of how Zygmunt got there and where he had been remains unsolved.
I think everybody at that stage thought it was a crime. That's how obvious it was.
Gliding figure. One night, a security guard on duty spotted something unusual. A figure was approaching the guardhouse, but it wasn't walking. It was gliding. A chill ran down his spine, but curiosity pushed him to step outside for a closer look. The second he did, the figure vanished into thin air. He rushed back inside, checking the security footage to see if his mind had played tricks. But the recording revealed something far worse. The figure was still there, moving toward him, and when it vanished, the footage glitched violently, like reality itself had been tampered with. Since that night, he refuses to patrol alone. Unseen passenger. A bus driver had just finished his night shift when something strange caught his eye. As he looked at the camera monitor, he saw a lone passenger sitting on the upper deck, but the bus was empty. This was the final stop and no one should have been there. Confused, he went upstairs to check, expecting to find someone who had stayed behind. Instead, the seat was empty and the air felt thick with unease. He had seen the figure clearly, yet there was no sign of anyone. Some may call it a glitch, but from that night on, he couldn't shake the feeling that something unseen still rode his bus. Terror of 7. Drivers on Route 7 between Hamilton and Leesburg, Virginia have reported a strange experience, hearing voices whispering all around them. One man described hearing many voices, all speaking in hushed tones as if unseen figures surrounded him. Others have heard similar murmurs, growing louder but never clear enough to understand. The strangest part, there's no radio interference, no logical explanation, just an eerie presence lingering along the stretch of road. Whether it's an echo from the past or something more sinister, one thing is certain, Route 7 is never truly silent. Haunting of Indiana.
Perhaps even more disturbing tonight, a report out of Indiana. You may have seen this on The Factor. Wait until you hear where we're taking the story. The reports suggest that demons took over a family in their home.
A home in Gary, Indiana became the center of fear after a family reported terrifying experiences. The mother watched in shock as her daughter was lifted into the air, seemingly without control. Her son, in front of hospital staff, scaled a wall like something else had taken over him. Even police officers investigating the house heard whispers coming from the basement. The case made national headlines when a paranormal investigator purchased the house for $35,000, determined to uncover its secrets. But what he found only deepened the mystery. Dark figures appeared in the windows, horseflies swarmed the house, even in winter. Though the family fled, they still believe something dark lives inside.
And I saw one like coming into full image. It was coming out of my closet.
Smoke figure. On a quiet night shift, a security guard casually monitored the cameras, expecting another uneventful evening. Then something strange appeared on the screen. A smoke-like figure floated across the empty hallway, not drifting aimlessly, but moving with purpose, as if being guided by an unseen presence. It stayed there and was twisting and shifting before disappearing into thin air. A chill ran down the guard's spine, but he forced himself to remain calm. Though he wasn't alone in the building, he felt anything but comfort. The rest of his shift was spent watching the cameras, waiting for the ghostly presence to return. Forest voices.
Pull over.
A routine patrol near a remote forest turned unsettling when officers heard strange voices echoing from deep within the trees. The whispers were so clear they could almost make out the words, yet there was no one in sight. Curiosity drove them to step into the darkness, following the sound. The further they went, the more eerie the forest became. The floor was untouched, not a single footprint to mark their path, but the voices had come from right there, in that undisturbed silence. They searched, but found nothing. Perhaps that was for the best.
Yeah, listen, there it is again.
Glowing sphere.
I had just started my midnight shift, which is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. All of a sudden, from my left rear, there was a really strong light lit up the entire cab of my cruiser.
One officer's midnight shift took a terrifying twist when a blinding light suddenly flooded the cruiser's cab. The officer could barely see the road as the light slowly moved along the side of the vehicle and stopped just ahead. He looked out and froze. A glowing sphere hovered only 30 feet away. It was about the size of a Mini Cooper, its surface shifting like liquid energy, glowing in shades of red, green, and white. In a panic, he aimed his spotlight at it. In a blink, the sphere darted across the nearby water and vanished.
When I came to, I took my spotlight and shined the light at it, and as soon as I hit it with my spotlight, instantaneously moved across the body of water.
Mountain anomaly.
can see this light flickering over our mountain over here.
For years, South Mountain remained eerily silent after dark until one night the sky suddenly erupted with light. A man stood there transfixed, watching strange flickering orbs hover above the peak. They moved erratically, as if they had a mind of their own, glowing too brightly to be ordinary aircraft. By morning, there was no trace left, no towers or structures, nothing that could explain their presence. Whatever those lights were, they didn't belong to this world.
Alright, you tell me what it is.
Attic encounter. A man had always felt uneasy about his attic, but nothing prepared him for what came next. Without warning, an invisible force yanked him off the floor and dragged him toward a wooden beam, pushing him closer to an exposed nail.
By an invisible force that actually pulled him up onto a nail protruding from a rafter beam.
A crushing pressure tightened around his neck, making it harder to breathe. His family rushed in, pulling him back down just in time. The force vanished, but the deep marks on his skin remained. To this day, he can't explain what tried to take him.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at his ass. Oh my God.
Tree arrest. On April 11, 2023, in Port Orange, Florida, a police chase turned bizarre. A suspect desperate to flee crashed his car and ran into the woods. Officers spread out, searching in every direction, but he had vanished.
Exactly, they were at. I never saw him back here, where they came in at exactly. Wait, what is that up in the tree?
An hour later, one officer glanced up and saw something odd, a single shoe hanging from a branch.
Show me your hands! Show me your hands right now! If you move, you will be bit by the canine!
Just above it, the suspect clung to the tree, attempting to blend in. Below, the dogs barked, and officers aimed their tasers. The hiding spot might have seemed comical, but it didn't fool the cops. Reluctantly, he surrendered, and the chase ended in an unexpected way.
You better slowly come down that tree with nothing in your hands.
Skyward mystery. In 1967, officers patrolling the A3072 were startled when they spotted something strange in the sky. A glowing white cross hovered silently above the treetops, moving slowly as though it was watching them. When they attempted to get closer, it shot forward at a speed impossible to track. Calling for backup didn't help. Nothing could keep up with the strange object. As the story spread, more locals came forward, saying they'd seen the same glowing cross. But despite multiple witnesses, government officials locked away all the evidence, leaving the truth hidden. Whatever it was, they never shared what they knew.
You see, Willie, you were driving the patrol car at the time. Can you describe it to us?
Well, the object was likened unto a cross, although the inner parts were something similar to the points of a compass.
Scary report.
But it's inside now. Tap it on the window out. There. Top window.
Yeah.
A family in the UK was left shaken when their young daughter pointed at a house and claimed a dark figure was watching them from the window. Her father brushed it off at first, but decided to record, just in case. What he captured was terrifying. Shadows moving unnaturally fast, darting between rooms as though they had a life of their own. It wasn't just one shadow, but several, gliding through the house in ways that sent chills down his spine. Neighbors admitted to seeing things in the past, but no one had ever caught proof. Now, many believe whatever haunts that house is no ordinary spirit. It's something far worse.
Bottom window. Bottom window. Oh, man, it disappeared. Bottom window.
Haunted hospital. Stay away from this hospital. A Mexican security officer was making his rounds when his body cam captured something unexplainable. The footage showed a dark shadow forming at the end of an empty hallway, appearing out of nowhere and vanishing just as quickly. The officer saw it in real time, which is why he didn't try to get close. Some believe it was the lingering spirit of a former patient. Others argue it's something far more sinister. Either way, many now wonder what truly lurks in that hospital after dark. Ouija nightmare. On New Year's Eve 2022, police were called to a house after neighbors reported strange noises. Inside, a group of friends had been using an Ouija board to contact spirits tied to a family's dark past. But something went horribly wrong. One of the friends became violent, locking herself in a room, and her friends claimed she wasn't herself. Something had taken over. Police had to climb through a window to get her out. She was rushed to the hospital and is still receiving treatment. Many believe whatever they contacted that night never truly left.
Jezu, jak to ona tak warczy?
Unseen visitor. Late one night, a CCTV camera inside a police station captured something eerie. Mist-like figures hovered outside the glass entrance, barely visible. Then without warning, the heavy door swung open on its own. No wind, no person nearby, just silence. Officers are left wondering if something unseen entered that night. Whether it was a restless spirit or something darker, the footage has left everyone unsettled, questioning what truly stepped inside. Desert terror. A group of friends on a late-night safari in the desert were surrounded by strange humanoid figures. Some were white, others had a purplish tint, and their jerky movements filled the air with dread. The group tried to escape, but the creatures clung to their cars, refusing to let go. Many believed they had encountered skinwalkers. Trapped in the vast desert, all they could do was pray they'd make it out alive. Unseen figures. This man exploring a remote area at night captured something chilling on video. As he moved through the trees, strange noises echoed around him. When he turned, his flashlight caught two pale humanoid figures peeking from behind the trees. Their thin, ghostly bodies lingered for just a moment before vanishing into the darkness. The footage cut off before he could react, but many believe he ran for his life. With their long limbs and unnatural movements, these creatures didn't look human. Some say they were spirits. Others think they came from somewhere far worse. Whatever they were, those who saw the video agree it's the kind of sight that stays with you forever. Unfortunate moment.
Man, remember hear about like this black car, this black trailer thing?
One man noticed a figure in a wheelchair moving slowly down the street late at night. At first it seemed harmless, but as he watched, a sense of unease crept in. Then, without warning, the figure stood up and broke into a sprint, charging straight toward him. Panic set in. He ran as fast as he could, heart racing. Even after escaping, the image of that thing chasing him haunted him. Was it a cryptid? Something unnatural? He never wanted to find out.
Are you okay, ma'am?
Invisible being. Late one night in Ventanilla Market, a security guard on duty experienced something truly eerie. The market was empty, still, and silent, yet the guard suddenly became fixated on something unseen. He walked toward it, crouched down, and appeared to be speaking to nothing at all. The strangest part, whatever he saw wasn't captured on the security camera. Only he could see it. After a few moments, he stood up and walked away, as though nothing had happened. When the footage was uploaded, it spread like wildfire. Some believe he was interacting with the spirit of a child, a lost soul still lingering in the market. Whether real or just a trick of the mind, the footage remains one of the most chilling ever recorded. Haunted balloons. A late-night shift at a quiet police station took a bizarre turn when a security camera picked up something unexplainable. An officer had left two balloons in the hallway, not thinking much of it. But moments later, the balloons started moving. Slowly, deliberately, as if guided by an invisible force. Their movement wasn't random, floating down the corridor with a smooth, controlled motion. Some believe it was the spirit of a child, trying to make its presence known. Whatever the reason, the footage has left many unsettled. Just another night at the station. Have you had such encounters? Comment below. Shadowed flight. A routine night shift turned into a nightmare for an airport worker when he encountered something terrifying inside an empty plane. Around 3 a.m. in Mexico City, he was following protocol after hearing strange noises, doors slamming, footsteps, and whispers. With only his flashlight cutting through the darkness, he walked down the aisle searching for the source. Then he saw it. A shadowy figure peeked out from behind a corner, watching him. Frozen for a moment, instinct took over and he turned to run, leaving the plane behind. The footage captured his reaction, but whatever was hiding in that aircraft remains unknown. Some say a spirit never left its last flight. Others believe something even darker was waiting inside.
No mames.
1947 hoax. In the summer of 1947, something strange crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. Rancher McBrazel found bizarre metal fragments scattered across his field, thin, lightweight, and nearly impossible to break. He took them to the sheriff, who quickly contacted the military.
I thought I have a real crank here, a guy who has picked up some information about something and he's got it all wrong, you know, this was a hoax.
The US Army first claimed that they had recovered a flying disc, but just a day later, they reversed their statement, calling it a weather balloon. Many weren't convinced. Years later, Major Jesse Marcel, one of the first officers on the scene, revealed the shocking truth. The debris wasn't from Earth, but it has been disapproved since it was a weather balloon.
Still the only time in the history of the United States where the government has said, we've got a flying saucer.
Is open discussion. A security guard was making his usual rounds at a graveyard when something shifted in the darkness. At first, it seemed like a trespasser sneaking between the headstones, but as he aimed his flashlight, the beam caught something unsettling, a dark figure lurking just beyond the graves. Before he could react, it moved, vanishing behind a headstone with an unnatural speed that sent a chill down his spine. He had worked countless nights without incident, but this was different. The way it moved, the way it seemed to watch him from the shadows. It wasn't normal. Some say it was a trick of the light, a simple illusion, but those who have seen the footage know better. What about you? Thank you for watching.